You ever wonder why, no matter how hard you work, success still feels just out of reach? Like every time you take one step forward, something pushes you two steps back? It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're not talented. It's not even because you're not trying hard enough. The truth is, you are fighting a war you don't even know you're in. A war against enemies that no one warned you about. They don't attack you openly. They don't announce themselves. They work in silence, in the background, sabotaging your progress, whispering doubts, holding you back when you start to rise. These enemies don't come at you with swords and shields. They show up as thoughts in your head, as fears in your chest, as excuses that sound perfectly reasonable. And if you're not careful, they will keep you stuck in the same place year after year, until one day you wake up and realize your dreams are still just dreams. But here's the good news. Once you can see them, you can defeat them. Once you name them, you take away their power. Today, I want to expose these 5 silent enemies that are quietly destroying your success. And I want to show you how to fight back, step by step, so you can finally break free. Because success isn't just about working hard. It's about removing what's holding you down. And when you do that, when you defeat these enemies, you unlock a version of yourself that you've never seen before, a version of yourself that is unstoppable. So, let's go to war. 1. Self-doubt. Self-doubt is sneaky. It doesn't storm into your life loudly. It slips in quietly. It lives in the back of your mind, whispering things like, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. What if you fail? What if everyone sees you fail?" At first you ignore it, but the longer you let those whispers run, the louder they get, until they paralyze you completely. And that's how self-doubt wins. It doesn't have to defeat you directly. It just has to keep you from trying. Think about how many opportunities you've said no to, not because you couldn't do them, but because you didn't believe you could. That job you didn't apply for. That business idea you never started. That skill you never tried to learn. Self-doubt is the thief of action. And when you lose action, you lose momentum. When you lose momentum, you lose confidence. And when you lose confidence, you confirm the lie that you aren't good enough. But here's the truth. Self-doubt isn't a sign you're weak. It's a sign you're stepping into something new, something that matters. You don't doubt yourself over things you don't care about. Self-doubt shows up when you're about to do something that could actually change your life. Let me tell you a story. There was a guy who wanted to start a YouTube channel, but for months he couldn't do it. He kept telling himself, "I'm not ready. I need better equipment. I need better editing skills. Nobody will watch me anyway." He watched other people succeed and thought, "I could do that, but what if I fail?" Then one day, he got so tired of his own excuses that he just hit record. No fancy camera, no perfect lighting, just him, talking. He posted the video. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And to his surprise, people actually watched. The next week, he posted again, then again. And slowly, that tiny bit of action started building confidence. Today, that guy has a channel with thousands of subscribers. Not because he killed his self-doubt first, but because he moved forward with it. That's the lesson. You can't think your way into confidence. You have to act your way into confidence. Start with something so small you can't fail. Make one phone call, write one page, do one workout, stack tiny wins until they start to drown out that voice. And here's the beautiful thing. Every time you act in spite of fear, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than the voice in your head. And with every little win, that whisper of self-doubt gets quieter and quieter until it has no power over you at all. Enemy 2. Fear of judgment. This is the invisible chain that holds millions of people back. Fear of judgment is the prison that keeps your dreams locked away. You're worried what people will say if you fail. You're worried what they'll say if you succeed. You're worried about that laugh, that eye roll, That comment from someone who secretly wants to see you stay small. And so, you do nothing. You stay quiet. You stay safe. You live a life that feels acceptable to everyone else, but empty to you. Here's the thing. People will judge you no matter what you do. If you stay broke, they'll say you're lazy. If you get rich, they'll say you got lucky. If you speak up, they'll say you're arrogant. If you stay quiet, they'll say you're weak. You cannot win their approval, and you don't have to. Let me share a story. There was a young woman who wanted to become a fitness coach, but she was terrified of posting her first workout video online. She imagined everyone from high school laughing at her. She imagined people commenting, "Who do you think you are?" For months, she kept her dream locked inside because of a handful of imaginary critics. Then one day she thought about the alternative, staying exactly where she was. She realized the pain of regret was heavier than the pain of judgment. So she posted the video. Yes, some people mocked her. Yes, some people sent mean comments. But you know what else happened? Other people thanked her. Other people said she inspired them. Some even asked for her help. Today, she's a full-time coach helping thousands of people get healthy. And the people who judged her? They're still scrolling, still laughing at someone else, still doing nothing with their own lives. The truth is, when you stop living for applause and start living for impact, you get free. You stop worrying about the critics because you realize they don't matter. You realize your mission is bigger than their opinion. And here's the most powerful part. When you choose courage over approval, you become someone other people look up to. You give them permission to be brave too. So ask yourself, are you living for the crowd's approval, or are you living for the life you know you're meant to live? Enemy 3. Comfort. Comfort is tricky because it doesn't feel like an enemy. It feels good. It feels safe. It feels like you're taking care of yourself. But comfort is the slowest, deadliest poison there is. It keeps you warm, but it keeps you stuck. It whispers, "Stay here. Don't push yourself. You've done enough." Comfort is the reason you hit snooze when you know you should get up. It's the reason you scroll instead of work. It's the reason you say, "I'll start tomorrow," and tomorrow never comes. And here's the painful truth. Comfort doesn't just keep you where you are, it slowly pulls you backwards. While you're getting comfortable, life is moving on. Opportunities are passing by. Other people are growing. And by the time you realize it, you're behind. And it hurts. Let me tell you about a guy I knew who always said he wanted to start a business. He had ideas. He had talent. But he loved comfort too much. He'd get home from work, sit on the couch, binge Netflix, tell himself, "I deserve this. I'll start tomorrow." Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. One day, someone else launched the exact business idea he'd been talking about. He watched them succeed and said, "That could have been me." And he was right. It could have been him. But comfort had stolen that future from him. The way you defeat comfort is by choosing discomfort on purpose, by leaning into the hard things every day, even when you don't feel like it. Wake up early when your bed is calling you. Speak up when silence would be easier. Start before you feel ready. Every time you step into discomfort, you grow. And the more you grow, the less power comfort has over you. One day you'll realize that discomfort was never your enemy. It was your training ground. The pain of growth will always be lighter than the pain of regret. So the question becomes, will you choose the pain that builds you, or the comfort that slowly destroys you? Enemy 4. Negative environment. Your environment is silently shaping you every single day, whether you notice it or not. It's not just the places you go, it's the people you talk to, the conversations you have, the energy you're surrounded by. If you spend enough time around negativity, you start to absorb it. You start thinking like the people around you. You start lowering your standards to match theirs, and slowly, you begin to settle for less. Not because you want to, but because it feels normal. A toxic environment doesn't just drain your energy, it rewires your brain. It kills your ambition before you even take action. Let me give you a story. There was a guy who wanted to turn his life around. He had big dreams, start a business, get healthy, build something meaningful, but every time he tried to take a step forward, his friends would mock him. "Why are you working so hard?" "Relax, man. You're wasting your time." "You really think you're better than us?" At first, he laughed it off, but over time, their voices got in his head. He started skipping the gym, skipping the work, skipping the dreams, and eventually, he gave up because he was surrounded by people who made staying average feel comfortable. Then one day, he met a group of people who thought differently. They encouraged him, they challenged him, they celebrated his wins instead of mocking them. Within months, his life started to change. Not because he got smarter or luckier, but because he changed the environment that was shaping him. Your environment is like soil. It determines what grows in your life. If the soil is toxic, it doesn't matter how good the seed is. But if you plant yourself in a healthy, growth-filled environment, you will thrive. This doesn't always mean cutting people off completely. It might just mean limiting your exposure to those who drain you and increasing your time around those who inspire you. Read better books. Follow people who push you higher. Have conversations that stretch you, not shrink you. Because here's the truth. Your energy is your most valuable currency. And if you keep spending it on the wrong people and places, you'll never have enough left to build the life you want. Enemy 5. Lack of discipline. This is the most dangerous enemy of them all, because it doesn't attack you in one big moment. It kills your dreams slowly, quietly, one missed day at a time. Lack of discipline is why people start strong and never finish. It's why they buy the course but never complete it. Why they go to the gym in January and quit in February. Why they promise to change but stay the same year after year. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Motivation won't save you. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the engine. Without discipline, you will always stay stuck in cycles of starting and stopping. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who wanted to write a book. He was excited, motivated, full of ideas. He stayed up late, wrote for hours for a whole week, and then stopped. Life got busy. He told himself, "I'll get back to it when I have more time." But more time never came. Months later, he looked at his half-finished manuscript collecting dust on his laptop and felt a deep frustration. Not because the dream was impossible, but because he knew he was the reason it wasn't happening. Then, one day, he made a simple change. He set a rule for himself: write 500 words a day, no matter what. It didn't matter if he felt tired. It didn't matter if the words were bad. He just had to sit down and write. At first, it was painful, but after a few weeks, it became a habit. And a few months later, he finished his book. Not because he had bursts of inspiration, but because he built a system that made success non-negotiable. That's what discipline does. It makes winning automatic. It turns "I'll do it when I feel like it" into "I do it because it's who I am." Discipline is freedom. It frees you from relying on your moods, your motivation, or your feelings. It frees you from the endless start-stop cycle. And yes, it's hard at first, but so is staying stuck. So is living with regret. You get to choose your hard, the hard of discipline, or the hard of never becoming who you were meant to be. Enemy 6. Perfectionism. Perfectionism disguises itself as high standards. It whispers, "Don't start until you know it's perfect. Don't share until it's flawless. Don't act until you're 100% ready." It feels noble. You think you're just being careful, just making sure you're doing things right. But really, it's fear wearing a mask. Fear of being judged. Fear of failing publicly. Fear of not measuring up. And while you wait for perfect conditions, life passes you by. Opportunities slip through your fingers. Your ideas stay in your head instead of in the world. I knew someone who dreamed of starting a podcast. They had the microphone, the software, the perfect topic list, but they kept saying, "I just need to improve my intro. I just need to make sure my editing is perfect. I just need a better logo first." Months passed, then a year, and they never uploaded a single episode. One day, someone else launched a podcast on the exact same topic and blew up. Not because they were better, but because they started. That's what perfectionism steals from you. Not just time, but the chance to even try. The only way to break free is to choose progress over perfection. Start ugly. Start scared. Start before you think you're ready. Because imperfect action will always beat perfect inaction every single time. Enemy. 7. Overthinking. This enemy is sneaky because it feels like you're being productive. You're thinking, planning, researching, preparing. But instead of taking action, you just keep spinning in your head. Overthinking convinces you there's always one more thing to figure out before you can begin. It drowns you in what ifs. What if I fail? What if I look stupid? What if it doesn't work? And before you know it, you've talked yourself out of the very thing that could change your life. I once knew a guy who wanted to start going to the gym. He spent weeks researching the perfect workout plan, watching videos about proper form, comparing different diets, even looking up which shoes were best for weightlifting. But he never actually went. He told himself he was just being smart and getting prepared, but deep down, he was just afraid of looking like a beginner. 6 months later, he still hadn't taken the first step, and all that thinking hadn't changed a single thing about his life. That's the trap. Overthinking feels like progress, but it's really just procrastination in disguise. The cure for overthinking is movement. Clarity doesn't come from thinking, it comes from doing. Take one small step, any step, and let reality give you feedback. Because action creates momentum, and momentum kills overthinking. Everything you've heard so far has been leading here. We've exposed the 7 silent enemies that have been holding you back, stealing your time, your confidence, your momentum. But now it's not about them. It's about you. Because this is the part where most people stop. They nod their head, feel a spark of inspiration, maybe even take a few notes. And then they close the video and go right back to living the exact same life. And nothing changes. But you wouldn't still be here if you were like most people. You're still watching because something deep down inside you is tired. Tired of living small. Tired of letting fear and doubt run your life. Tired of wondering what could have been if you had just taken that first step. This is your moment, your line in the sand. Right here, right now, you get to decide. Will you keep letting these enemies call the shots? Or will you fight back and take your life into your own hands? Don't wait until you feel ready. You'll never feel 100% ready. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to know every step. You don't need permission. What you need is a decision. A decision that says, I will not waste another year of my life waiting for perfect conditions. I will not let fear, overthinking, perfectionism, or comfort run me anymore. I am choosing to fight, starting today. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, there will be days where it feels like you're losing ground. But every time you push forward, every time you take even one small step, you take back territory from the enemies that once controlled you. This is not about hype. This is about a quiet commitment that will echo for the rest of your life. Take a breath. Feel the weight of this moment. And then choose. Because this is where everything starts to change. Close your eyes and picture this. You wake up one morning and something feels different. You don't reach for your phone first thing. You feel focused, clear, alive. The version of you staring back in the mirror isn't the same person who used to hesitate, overthink, and hide from risk. This version of you stands taller. There's a calm confidence in your eyes, not because life suddenly got easy, but because you've been through the fire and came out stronger. You don't let self-doubt run your decisions anymore. You speak up when you have something to say. You take action without waiting for permission. You go after opportunities without asking if you're good enough, because you already know you are. You've built a life you no longer need to escape from. The people around you are different. They're dreamers, doers, fighters. They don't pull you down. They push you forward. You've become the kind of person who inspires others just by living fully, just by refusing to quit. And the discipline you once dreaded? It's no longer a battle. It's simply who you are now. You do the work, not out of fear or guilt, but because it's what winners do. You don't have to win the war today. You just have to win today. Win one battle. Take one small step. Make one brave decision. And then do it again tomorrow. One day, you'll look back at this moment and realize this was the turning point. Not when life magically got easier, but when you got stronger. When you stopped waiting for the perfect time and started building the future you want. If this video spoke to you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need the reminder today. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep walking your path. Thanks for watching.